Bodhicitta. The power of awakening.
Welcome to In-Depth Non-Discussion. Today, we're talking about a seemingly abstract topic, Bodhicitta, or the awakening mind. We're using a cool metaphor to help us understand it. The diamond, or Vajra. Through a dialogue between a master and a student about the enlightenment of the Bodhicitta Vajra, we'll explore the relationship between Bodhicitta and enlightenment, and why knowing it is as important as knowing a diamond. The dialogue begins with a metaphor. Just as a priceless diamond is unknown to those who are not experts in precious stones, they do not know its power or how to use it. The Bodhicitta Vajra is the same. Those who do not know the Dharma do not understand its power and cannot use it. The phrase, knowing the Dharma here, doesn't refer to legal statutes. It points to enlightenment. Therefore, one who does not know the Dharma simply means someone who is not yet enlightened. This is like not understanding physics and therefore being unable to comprehend its laws, or not being good at social interaction and thus struggling with relationships. Enlightenment isn't just about knowing, it's even more about doing. When you fully understand and put a principle into practice, you are truly enlightened. This principle is universally applicable, from the simplest daily tasks to the most profound wisdom. The dialogue even mentions that a 7th-level bodhisattva needs to master all worldly dharmas, understanding their laws, their pros and cons, and their ultimate outcomes. The goal is very practical: to discern what is beneficial and what is harmful, avoid what is unfavorable, and utilize what is advantageous, ultimately achieving liberation from suffering and attainment of joy. In the dialogue, a student suddenly realizes they often act in a backwards way. They desperately pursue things that are not good for them, yet avoid genuinely beneficial things because they seem too troublesome. This is due to a lack of enlightenment and being led by delusion. This delusion is a mode of thinking and behavior gradually ingrained in us by our environment from a young age. By our 20s and 30s, it can become like an autopilot, making us more and more proficient in a faulty pattern, even making us think we are experienced. However, this proficiency based on delusion often leads to complete failure. The conversation then returns to the diamond metaphor, offering another perspective on Bodhicitta. Just as a diamond cannot be destroyed, the Bodhicitta Vajra is also indestructible by any phenomena. The key point here is that true Bodhicitta is not something we create. It is inherent. It refers to our inherent Buddha nature, which is originally pure, unborn, and unceasing. It is the basis from which all phenomena arise and disappear, but it itself is eternal and indestructible. So, what about the vulnerability, worries, and chaos we normally feel? This leads to another metaphor, the Vajra scepter. A Vajra scepter is not something anyone can wield. It requires extraordinary power. Similarly, Bodhicitta requires a bodhisattva with sufficient merit and wisdom to truly hold and use it. We are not saying that Bodhicitta doesn't exist, but rather that we may not have the ability to activate it. The last and most crucial diamond metaphor is just as a diamond cannot be destroyed by any other object. It can destroy all other objects, yet its own essence remains undamaged. This metaphor directly points to the relationship between essence and phenomena. To better understand this, the dialogue uses the metaphor of a computer screen. The screen itself is the essence. It can display various phenomena like text and images. These phenomena are manifestations of the screen, but they do not damage the screen itself. The essence of all the images you see is inseparable from the screen. As ancient masters said, every yellow flower is nothing but prajna, meaning that the essence of all things in front of our eyes is wisdom, just as the essence of an image cannot be separated from the screen. This aligns with the phrase form is emptiness from the Heart Sutra. All the material things we see are actually that screen, which is the manifestation of our own empty nature. Their essence is emptiness. This emptiness is not a void or nothingness. It has awareness and function. However, we easily cling to these changing images, thinking they are real and eternal. The story of King Pesanati from the Buddhist scriptures is used to break this attachment. His body ages and wrinkles, but his ability to see the river, his seeing nature, is like the screen itself. It does not age. What remains unchanged is the inherent nature that is aware. What changes are merely the illusory phenomena arising from karma and conditions. So, how can we practice recognizing this in our daily lives? The master suggests that the key is not to think about it all the time, because the truth is what it is, whether you think about it or not. The focus of the practice is knowing. This is the core of enlightenment. To practice being constantly aware and not forgetting this truth. This is similar to learning any skill that at first you have to consciously remember the steps. But with enough practice, it becomes second nature. We need to learn to recognize our inherent spiritual nature, and then continuously reinforce this awareness in our daily lives until this knowing becomes our default way of perceiving the world. When you can recognize your own inherent nature and constantly remind yourself of it, you are establishing right view, seeing everything with the eyes of a Buddha. When your perception aligns with the truth, your actions will naturally lead to a state of ease. Conversely, the unease and setbacks we feel come from a wrong perception, mistaking illusion for reality. On the basis of this error, we make wrong choices, leading to an endless loop of failure. The core of our discussion is the power of enlightenment, recognizing that underneath all changing phenomena, there is an unchanging, solid, and bright inherent nature, like that screen. This knowing is not just a philosophical concept. It is a moment-to-moment awareness that we must maintain in our lives. By using this awareness to gradually replace our painful delusions, and by making our actions align with the natural laws of things, we can move from a state of being constantly limited and frustrated to a state of greater composure and wisdom. In other words, the true meaning of liberation from suffering and attainment of joy. Finally, here's a question for you. In your own life, work, or studies, are there any laws or principles that you might have ignored or misunderstood due to some deeply ingrained delusions or habits?